Hello everybody, I'm Lorraine McCann, Archivist with Louth County Archives. Thank you very much to Joanna Finnegan and the staff of the National Library for inviting me to speak today at the World Digital Preservation Day event. I'm delighted to be part of it and I'm looking forward to talking about Pandemic Diaries, embarking on digital records collecting with our Louth Diary Project. This is what I'll talk about today in my presentation. I'll say a bit about Louth County Archives, then I'll give some background on our Louth Diary Project and explain how it came about. I'll talk a bit about the objectives of the project and then about collecting the diaries, what is being collected and how it's being collected. I'll say a bit about the challenges and I'll finish by looking at the future for the project. So about Louth County Archives Service. Louth County Archives was established in 2000 when an archivist was appointed in line with the Council's statutory obligations under Section 65 of the Local Government Act 1994 to make arrangements for the proper management, custody, care and conservation of local records and archives and for inspection by the public of local archives. This legislation has been since superseded by Section 80 of the Local Government Act 2001. The Archive Service is located in a mid-19th century jail building on the Ardee Road, Dundalk. It is the official repository in the county for the public records and archives of the local authorities of Louth County Council and also for local private collections that document the stories of local communities such as those of local historians, clubs and societies. These collections now form a valuable and important research resource relating to County Louth. The collection, which dates to the 16th century, is mainly in traditional physical format and is largely paper-based, with some parchment, maps, plans and drawings, photographs and negatives. There is a very small quantity of electronic records, such as some digitised records of minute books. These would consist of the master preservation, uncompressed TIFF images and the working and public access copies in PDF format. So the background to our Louth Diary Project. When the gradual shutdown began in Ireland with the closure of schools and universities on the 13th of March, I considered the idea of starting a diary project as a way of collecting a record of the experiences of local residents living through the COVID-19 pandemic. As a repository that acquires local private collections that document the history and development of the county, I feel it is important to try to preserve as much of the narrative of local communities in the county as possible to assist local research and scholarship. So shortly after the first lockdown was announced here on the 27th of March, ideas were sought from council services such as the museum, libraries, arts, heritage, sports, community and archive service on how we could engage with the public while we were closed to visitors and working from home. These activities, many of them online, form part of the County Council's Wellbeing During COVID-19 scheme, which is part of the National Wellbeing Initiative Together. The Wellbeing Scheme aims to help communities and individuals to maintain their physical and mental well-being through keeping active and staying connected. And as local government was to lead on this community resilience programme, local authorities nationwide developed a community response unit to support their community well-being. As a result, our Louth Diary Project was established in April. So, objectives of the Diary Project. First of all, to help record the history of the COVID-19 pandemic by inviting the people of Louth to keep a daily diary of their everyday experiences. People might not think that their personal diary belongs in an archive collection, but it is these personal experiences that the project wants to collect in order to preserve an unofficial record of the pandemic as seen through the eyes of the people in Louth. Another objective is to preserve these diaries permanently in the county archives so that they can be made available to future generations for research and to understand what life is like for us during this extraordinary period in our history, and also to support Louth County Council's Wellbeing During COVID-19 scheme. Collecting the Pandemic Diaries. After working out what needed to be done, a web page was created at the outset of the project in April to explain to the public and those interested what the project was about and how they could take part, and to provide a point where participants looking for further information could be directed to. So what the project collects. It collects both physical and digital material. In supporting the Community Wellbeing Scheme, we are interested in handwritten diaries as much as we are diaries kept in digital format. People were encouraged to write about how they are experiencing this time, how the situation is affecting them or their family, and the impact on their work, school, college or personal life. They were encouraged to write about how they are feeling, what they miss, ordinary events such as going to the shops or the weather. As keeping a diary does not suit everyone, there was also the option to take a photograph or make a short sound recording of their local area. This meant I had to create an information card that people could use to record details such as date and time, the location of the photograph or recording, air code, a subject description, weather conditions, and the permission of anyone identifiable in the record. So how people donated the records. As the office was closed, I was not able to accept donations straight away. And as a sole archivist, I didn't have a workflow worked out, so it was a couple of months before I posted instructions on the website on how to donate. As I had no idea of how many files one donor might try to send me, and I didn't want too many large attachments, such as images, coming through my email, I opted for an online submission form to be placed on our web page for the digital records, and also created a hard copy form for anyone who wished to donate a physical diary. In the online form, donors can upload their donations and provide metadata about their donation, including provenance, information and rights, and read and give their agreement to the donation terms and conditions. This information is very useful when it comes to cataloguing the material. These donor agreements, metadata and digital records could then be securely collected from the website's content management system. If participants had queries, they were encouraged to email them. And the image there is of the Shine Your Light initiative in support of frontline workers and HSE staff by Sean O'Byrne. So, what has been collected? To date, a small quantity of diaries in digital format have been donated. These have been submitted in both Word and PDF format. A couple of them have JPEG images contained within them. Two of them also consist of copies of entries that were already published on the donor's Facebook page as a journal. One donor kept both a digital diary and has taken about 180 JPEG images of his local area during the first lockdown, some of which have been used in this presentation. And hopefully once Level 5 restrictions lift, he will be able to donate the remainder of these. He wants to donate them in person on a memory stick, which is fine. Even though the collection is small, I am delighted that a number of the diaries received have been kept for a period of 3 or 4 months. Of course, it is possible that there are people still keeping a diary and I may not receive it until next year, or indeed a few years. And two images there. On the left we have Tyrion's Victoria sponge by Sean O'Byrne, and on the right an abandoned and unplanted school vegetable and flower garden by Sean O'Byrne. So now I will talk about challenges, and I have listed some of the challenges I have found while doing the project. Promotion of the project and getting participants. Promotion takes time, but it is essential. While it was promoted on local radio, in local newspapers, on social media, on the website and so on, I am very grateful to Grania Beryl and the Louth Volunteer Centre, who have been very helpful in promoting it. They advertised it on their website and participants could register with them if they so wished. And they encouraged participants by checking in with them to motivate them. They are part of Volunteer Ireland, which has a national network of volunteer centres. The deposit method. So when the online donation form was set up, it was set to accept the digital record donations in certain file formats. So I had to put a note on the online form that if material could not be uploaded, to contact me via email. I also had to learn how to export the files from the website's content management system, and these donation form files are exported in XML format and saved with the collection's digital donations. Storage. So when I started out on the project, I only had external hard drives available at the time to store this new digital collection and limited space on a server. Not knowing how many donations I would receive and how soon, I didn't know if the storage we had was going to be sufficient. After talking to our IT department, the project was set some space on our network attached storage. The network attached storage, or the NAS, uses RAID technology, which is where data is stored across multiple drives in such a way that if one or two drives fail, no data is lost. At the moment, it is the safest network space available until our storage is upgraded next year. However, as the number of donations to date is small and manageable, I am able to use some space on the main server at the moment. And I am also keeping copies on 2 external hard drives as a backup to the master files. Metadata. Knowing what metadata to use and how to document this properly has been a challenge. Because I am collecting digital files from different donors who have titled files differently, as opposed to me setting out the file names at the start as I might do in a digitisation project, I found this a bit difficult to work out and have had to make adjustments. Managing change over time. So whether it's the software or file formats, one of my bigger worries would be having the time and resources in a one-staff service to be able to manage what digital preservation should be done over time. And also having the expertise to always know what to do and how to do it. And the image there on this slide is of the Louth village playground, which was closed to local children during the lockdown, and it was taken by Sean O'Byrne. So the future. What I plan to do next is to figure out suitable workflows and processes for the collection's digital preservation, and to practice using checksum and file format tools that I have really only very recently engaged with. Thanks to Kieran O'Leary in the National Library, who has been very helpful to me in learning how to use it. I'm looking forward to his talk now shortly. I intend to become more familiar with the Open Archival Information System, or the OAIS reference model, and to conform with as many levels of its archival information package. I also hope to engage more with our IT department, which is crucial in digital planning, and to look at producing a digital preservation policy for the service. While the diary project has presented me with many challenges, especially the digital preservation ones, which I am still in the process of working out, by embarking on this digital records collecting, it has accelerated me to engage with digital preservation. Thank you for listening.